What's happening, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back to Junk Drummer TV, and welcome to my new show, the Brototoms podcast. If you would have watched my Taylor Hawkins memorial, or actually our Taylor Hawkins memorial video, you'll know that I brought three of my really good drum friends, actually my three best drum friends, in to help me with that video. And it was so much fun. I think we did such a good job on there that we decided that we should probably do this kind of semi-regularly. If you remember, I had another podcast called The Drunk Uncle Radio, and that lasted during the pandemic. And then once the pandemic lifted, everybody had got really busy and we really couldn't continue that. But I've always wanted to, like every drummer, I want to do stuff with other people, because who wants to fucking watch a drummer by himself? Nobody. So this is the new podcast, and we hope that you all enjoy it. And let me introduce everybody here. We've got Jeffrey McClellan, the Millennial Renaissance man. He plays in a band called Of the Dell, and he also plays with Holly Elizabeth Forbes, who you may know from the top 10 of is it The Voice? The Voice. Up here, we got Jared Holly, who is in one of the best rock bands in America, Duquesne. We've got Hot Rod, Rodney Elkins, who plays with two-time Grammy-nominated country music artist, not Americana, Tyler Childers, and also plays in Ona. And I used to work at Applebee's. So today we're going to talk about gear. You know, one of the things on my channel, I really don't talk about gear all that much, because there's so many channels videos that I know that we all watch with people who get paid to review gear, and it seems like they do that better than I could anyway. But I am a gear nerd, and we talk about gear a lot in our chat. So we're going to talk about gear nerddom, and we're going to try not to get Hot Rod in trouble with all of the companies that he is endorsed by.
Oh, they're my friend.
So my first question, everybody but Hot Rod, how many times have you all gotten Soul Tone cymbal endorsement emails? Jared?
2.
Jeffrey?
Shoot. That's actually really tough, because there was like a period of time where I got a couple of those, and then there was another company that went under, and then so Soultone was like trying to take.
Was it Saluda? Was it Saluda?
Well, there was Saluda too. I've probably got like two or three Soultone emails.
Dude, once my channel got a little bit of traction, I had to eventually like block them off of my email. Kids out there, endorsements aren't really that big a deal if they're not trying to give you like 75% off, because
the 10% ain't worth it.
No, it's not. Like, they're giving you basically the rate that a music store gets.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They're still making their money. They ain't doing you any favors.
No, and no one gives a shit if you play Sultan.
No. if they're actively paying for ads that say we are looking for endorsers,
yeah,
that means they're just looking for business.
Yeah, that's their way of selling to you and making you feel like you have. There's a guy in the town over from where we live that like he wears like his Soultone shirt when he plays and shit, and like Instagrams that shit. Like, dude,
I will say Bosphorus sent me a shirt, but it was like a European cut, and I was way too fat for it.
Yeah, but Bosphorus is a real cymbal company. That's good shit. You know what I mean? So
I like their cymbals a lot.
So we're going to get to cymbals. Let's start here. Everybody. God damn it. Everybody tell me the first drum set that you owned. Jared, Holly, what is the first drum set that you owned?
Well, I'm gonna answer this with 2. I really wanted a drum set. I was playing drums in middle school. So I had a snare drum that came out of my step grandmother's attic. It was from when my stepdad was in middle school. This was like a 60s something. I think it was a Slingerland, actually.
Oh yeah,
that's probably really cool.
Yeah, it was rad. I still have it.
Do you really?
Yeah. And then
never seen this?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's
Sell it to me.
House. It's at mom's. No.
Yeah, but it's smooth.
All right. And so, but then I really wanted a drum set, but my mom was like, I'm not buying you a drum set till I know you're going to stick with it. And so she bought me this Yamaha electric thing, and they were all, it was like
the DD55,
like this big, maybe,
had
and
the
it had
pads
like
on it?
and little pedals.
Yeah,
And
that
so-
you plugged in on the
Yeah,
side.
so that was like the first drum set or whatever. But my first actual like acoustic drum set was a cherry red 1980s Ludwig rocker.
Dude, I had a rocker. It was one of the first. It's one of the first kits I had.
Yeah.
Man, compared to now, because rockers were a low,
Dude, but
entry level.
They
They're
built the
built.
shit out of them.
They were great. I
Yeah.
wish I still had mine. They had the.
Yeah.
Did yours have the lugs that weren't connected? So it was like lug, and it had like a tube in between the two.
No,
It was
I
almost
had-
like a floating lug.
I had the big rectangle lug casing
The
type
Imperial.
of deal.
So the
Oh.
real Ludwig shit. Then.
yeah.
Dude, those were really good drum sets.
Yeah,
I-
that was
I-
great.
I worked at a music store for many years, and I used to get this. Damn it! Happy 420, everybody. I used to get this. I used to get this.
Because I haven't said much.
I used to get this question all the time, like, "What's a good drum set?" Man, when you spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, they're all good.
Yeah.
All professional drums are good. At that point, you're just talking about preference.
I mean,
The
honestly,
way-
like you can put good heads on a pretty terrible drum set and make it sound great.
And that's my point, though, is I think that you can really tell how good a drum company is by how well they make their lower stuff, their lower end. You know what I mean? Like, and dude,
I will
Ludwig
tell you
rockers
that,
were great.
Rockers
Ludwig
were great.
Gretsch, I
and they
think, hold
changed
their own
the
down there.
accents.
The accent.
Accents
then
are
I
good
had-
too.
My second
I had an
was
accent. Accent was my first kit.
Was it the Accent
Super cool.
CS or just the Accent?
Mine was just
Dude,
the
I
accent.
can't
You helped me put
remember.
it together.
Dude, the Ludwig Accent was a good drum
Yeah.
set. That's a
That was
good,
my
good drum
second
set.
drum set.
Mine came with hardware and cymbals and stuff that I broke in a few months.
I had
but-
hardware, no symbols.
Were they like Ludwig branded cymbals?
No, mine were actually Zildjians. They were ZBTs though,
Okay.
but it's a good starter set of cymbals.
Got
They
the
weren't like those pressed brass.
Right.
Dude, those ZBTs, when you don't have any touch and you're going to break shit anyway, that's a perfect first cymbal to go.
Might as well go for those. Yeah,
Yeah, those are. They don't
I
make
can
them
still
anymore.
hear
but-
their overtones though.
Oh, so bad, sour. Oh, yeah. If you could just record like maybe the impact, it wouldn't be that bad. But it gets real
Right.
sour when those
With a
resonate
lot
out.
of EQ, the ride will be okay.
Yeah, gated, gated,
distinguished
gated to death.
solo awards on my Ludwig accent.
Yes, sir.
So, what was your
Compton?
first kit, Rodney?
A 1979 set of jugs.
What?
Jugs percussion.
Jugs percussion.
Not the ones that were like the projectors, right? Because
No.
is that not who made that
That'd be
projector?
insane.
I
Were
don't
they
know.
fiberglass?
No, they were wood. They had no bottom heads.
So they were
And-
concert toms.
They were no man. They were just like
That's
70s, like
70s
dead,
right
like
there.
so dry they chafed, and just
You get
duct
that-
tape galore. And I played them all the way, like damn near all the way through high school.
Yeah.
And then
I played him.
I got a Ludwig accent right after that, and I thought I hit the big time.
Yeah.
Dude, those accents are
I was like, I
sweet.
got 2 sets of heads on each drum. Professional.
I can control EQ with the bottom head now, son.
Yeah.
I'm not like Phil Collins up here anymore.
Yeah, that's immediately where I went.
I forgot
Of course.
to mention that the cymbals that came with it were Zildjian scimitars.
Scimitars,
Oh.
pre-ZBT. That's
Pre-ZBT.
It's the same exact shit. It's that same
Yeah.
D8 prawns that they use.
But-
It's garbage.
That
But with the
crash
cooler
ride,
logo.
the crash ride is beautiful. It's still around.
It's really not bad.
Rodney still has it.
For
Yeah,
real?
I will
Yeah,
say
my Uncle
the
Dave.
Scimitar Crash Ride was better than like the ZBT Crash Ride by far.
It had a great bell on it.
If you were playing like loud, that would like if you're using it like I could use it in my metal band as a crash ride, as
Right.
like a crash
Yeah,
ride.
for sure.
Yeah. My first was a ridiculous drum set where my mom and dad got like bamboozled by a Pied Piper rep. And they sold me, my mom and dad,
Bless
like
you.
on credit, a double bass CB percussion drum set. Does anyone old enough to remember CB
Oh
percussion?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The kit I learned on was a CB kit.
Oh no shit.
It wasn't the guy that taught me to play. He had a CB kit, so I was playing that until I got my first kit, like Probably, well, shoot, I learned right around my birthday in March, and then I got a kit for Christmas. So I was playing most of the year on a CB kit.
Garbage. And what Jared said earlier, like you could put some good heads on a rocker or an accent and maybe
Yeah.
jugs. I've never even heard of
Jugs.
jugs. But I can assure you, you could put fucking platinum laced gold diamonds heads on the CB percussion. It wasn't going to sound good. It was asinine. Look at that picture of Jeffrey. It's so
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I had the CB, it was CB percussion. I had no business having it. It was double bass. I couldn't play one. I had four toms up, one tom down. I thought I was going to play YYZ, but then I just ended up like playing like Social Distortion, which is cool too. And I had Sabian B8 Pros, which are like negligible to scimitars or what is
ZBT kind of thing?
what's the low end Sabian now? Is it SRX or some shit?
I don't know.
Oh, dude, I couldn't tell you. I
haven't
can't
looked
remember.
at a low end symbol in a really long time.
No,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
no. Oh man, you know
It's funny because like every once in a while I'll get ads that are like, you know, you get the carousel ad, so you have this one, you slide through to the next, and it'll be like Zildjian K's, you slide over, Sabian HHX, slide over, and then they'll throw in the middle of all that Meinl HCS. It's like, get out of here, go.
So here's one, and I think this might be generational, although I'm pretty sure maybe Hot Rod would have been, and maybe even Jared, because Jeffrey, of course, is the youngest of the Brototoms podcast. And if y'all dig what you're dig what you're hearing, please give us a like, a comment, and a share, and subscribe if you think we've deserved it. Did anyone used to methodically go through Interstate Musician
Absolutely.
Friend, AMS,
Catalogs?
and just like J.C. Penney at Christmas, that shit?
Yeah.
Like if I
Actual
just had
paper
a
catalog?
Pull the ear,
Oh, dude.
pull the corner down.
It was called the
Yes.
Wish Book in my house.
Yes. If I had all the money in the world, I would just have all Sabian Paragons by Neil Peart, and I would have
It was the Wish Book in the Elkins household.
Dude,
dude.
I bought a hi-hat tambourine the other day, and it came in the box with the Meinl
Catalog.
like catalog, little percussion catalog, and I was sitting on the couch and I was like, "This is incredible! I've done this forever."
I feel like you own it when you
Yeah, I know,
hold
dude.
it.
I still do.
already
I'll
have
get
all
the
this
little
stuff.
mailers, like Sweetwater or Musician's
Sweetwater.
Friend will send out like a mailer. They don't do the monthly catalogs anymore like they used to because it's a waste of paper. But they'll send out the little mailers where you get, a few little pages of some goodies they're trying to share. And like I always crack those things open and I look through, and I'll sometimes get two because I shop pro audio and I shop drums. So I'll get a pro audio one and then I'll get a drum one. So I get look through 3 pages and I'm like, oh,
It's not
It's
enough
good
either.
I know. I want
Because
the big old Christmas catalog.
I'll still get like sometimes the really thick Sweetwater.
Yeah.
And like I do the same thing. Like I'm fucking 14 because I kind of grew up poor and everything that I looked at was a wish. Everything was like, well, maybe one day. And
The
like,
Wish Book.
yeah, it's it. It's a wish book. And I'll go through and find the Sweetwater, but dude, they give you like 7 pages. It's not enough. Like if you did Interstate Music Supply, they would give you like 25, 30, 40 pages of just drums. And you
could get like
Are they still a
instrument
thing?
specific catalogs from
Oh,
Interstate.
yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you just got I only got the drum ones
Yeah.
in the mail. And
That's
it was
sweet.
like a bunch of pages.
Are they still a thing? Interstate?
I don't think so.
Huh?
Because I mean, really, like a musician's friend, is AMS still a thing? Is American Musical
Dude,
Supply?
that's the one. I used to get that catalog too.
Dude, I was on
I
my
always felt
fucking
like it
net
was
zero
the
getting on
cheaper
AMS.
cousin of everything else. But they had the same shit.
But the thing about
Right.
Interstate Music Supply, they went so far as to list component drums. So it'd be like Ludwig American Classics, and it gave you the prices for the 20 by 20 and the
Right.
20 by 22 and the 60 by
Oh,
24. So it was, dude, you could do deep dives on that one.
Yeah.
Did they just had some music awards?
Who did?
They're still, Interstate's still around.
Yeah.
Interstate
Wow.
Musical Supply, man, that like got me
There's
through.
Interstate Music now. I think.
So
Yeah.
like we all kind of started out on beginner type drums. Jeffrey, what was your first drum set where you're like, okay, I have a pro drum set that I know I can take to any studio in the world and it's going to get a good sound?
Okay. So, like I was playing when I learned on the CB kit. It was like they were tuned well. They had good heads. It sounded okay, but the snare was like one of those PDP with like the wood hoops on it. That
I've got one right there.
Sounds great.
I've got
So
one. Yeah.
I knew that when I got my Ludwig, I needed to buy a new snare ahead of time. Like I was 11 years old, and by the time I was 12, I had saved up enough money to buy myself a new snare. So I did that, and I was able to make that Ludwig last me a long time. I stripped the wraps off of them, repainted all this stuff, and I played that with like when I started playing out and everything. And then it was where I had taken it apart. Some stuff was falling apart at that point because maybe I'm not a craftsman, but also maybe those weren't made to be taken apart and put back together. So that's when I was at Route 60. I was at Route 60, and Gretsch had come out with their 57 Renown kits, and I was like, I had been daydreaming about those every day, and then walked into Route 60, and they had them, and it was tax season. I was like 15, 16, somewhere in there. I was probably 16, maybe pushing 17. About tax season, my parents knew that I really needed a new kit. They knew that I meant business, so I threw that thing on layaway, and that's what I'm riding today. I've had like a Crush kit since then. That was fine, but the Gretsch Renown, you can all the time. If I've got heads that are less than 2 years old on it, I can take it to a show, and the sound guy's going to come back and be like, "Man, I didn't have to EQ your toms at all. Like everything just sounds good as soon as you put it on there. It takes nothing to tune them up, and they just sound great." So I've taken that to a bunch of studios and just gotten gorgeous sounds.
All you Gretsch reps out there, you can contact Jeffrey McClellan at j.mcclellan@media.com or something like
that. No, okay, maybe that's why I'm not getting your emails.
Yeah, because it sounds like .media or some shit. So Hot Rod, and Jeffrey, we're going to come back to that drum set in a second. So Jeffrey, Hot Rod, when was your first, like, here's my pro shit? This is, not the Jugs. And man, for all I know, Jugs was pro. I've never
Jugs
heard
was a
of
man's
Jugs.
drum set. It was hard. It was in charge.
Obviously, it's a man's drum set. Somebody
I would carry it in with the and it smelled like Marlboros.
So, what was your
it
first
came
like
seasoned like a cast iron?
So, what was your first like? Okay, this is a pro piece of gear that I know I could take to anywhere in the world.
Probably the classic maple I got now.
And how long ago did you get that?
Well, a couple of years before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a couple of years now.
Okay. I was telling my student today, he was talking about Tyler, who he plays with. And I was like, the story of my life as a musician is my drum set that I gave Hot Rod is in a video. That's got like 10 million views, and it's my best friend playing it. That's the story of my life. Because
I like
Hot
that
Rod,
tray, man.
dude, I love it. When I give gear away, it's like a sacred thing. I want to know that it's going to be played and loved.
Great, man.
You know what I mean?
What kit was that one?
With those sizes.
It was a Tay. Do you remember Tay? Taye.
Yes.
It was a Canadian company.
Yes.
They're wonderful. That was the Pro Rock Tour, and it was a mid-level kit. So that was probably your closest. Like that. Like of course that
Pro
Ludwig's
X.
better. Pro X. That's what it was. I think the top level is called Studio. Man, those Tays are really nice. They're out of
You got
business
good
now.
sounds out of them, man.
They're great. They're
The only thing
really
that
great.
sucked was the floor tom holder dinghies. If you cranked it too much, you would snap one.
That's the problem. And
broke this little washer inside, and I found them from some like Japanese company for like $13 a bag.
That's when they're trying to save money and make a drum cheap. Those are the little things that they skimp on.
I would hate people grabbing it and be like, "Let me help you set up, man." Here you go. And I'm like, "Brother, watch it when you get." There's been times where the guy's like, "Yeah, it's no worries, man." Pow.
And that goes to the
tape.
Because you can take, because what you do is you take the bottom of the leg, and that goes
to slide through.
Yep, and that goes to Jared's rocker. Is stuff like that was solid, like that shit you never had to worry about on a rocker.
Yeah.
So Jared, what was your first? I think I know because I think I copied your work. Your first like pro drum set.
That's some pretty pro drum set.
Yeah.
You didn't really have anything between
No, I didn't
those.
have anything between
Mhm.
that because I kind of
You played my Catalina for a minute.
yeah for a while. I guess it's probably the drum set that I have now is the closest to pro. It's
pro because I have one.
I'm playing
Pro starts in your heart.
I'm playing a Mapex Mars
Mars Pro.
Mars Pro series
See, it's in
in
the
the
name.
It's
smoke
literally
wood.
in the name, dude.
Yeah, I guess
It
so.
says the name.
It's in the smokewood finish and the like the 1 up 2 down setup. 22-inch bass that and Steve, I think you have a 24.
Yeah, but I was looking for something for my metal band because I needed a lot more cymbals and a bigger bass drum, and it's really hard to find. And I have a beef with all companies with not giving people enough choices in pre-packages.
Yeah.
Because like one of the few PDP does and fucking Mapex are the only ones that give a 24-inch bass drum in a pre-pack. And if you watch my channel regularly, a couple months ago, I actually did a drum video
Gretch
with.
does. Gretch, you hear that?
Oh wait, I didn't see it. I couldn't find it. But me, Hot Rod, and Jared, we did a drum video where it was like drummers drumming for charity, and you had that drum set. And I sat down and played it. I went boom, boom, boom. It's like, oh, I'm buying that, and I bought it like the very next week.
Yeah, I don't even think you got you didn't even get through a whole groove for you.
No,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is exactly it. Man, you know, I'm a Premiere guy. That's my main kits. I've got 2 Premieres, but you all know the story about Mapex, right? Mapex was the company that built everybody's shit. They were just like the Taiwanese company or Hong Kong, one of those fucking places. And they were the ones that were like Tama, everybody that makes shit in China, not Sonar, not Premiere, not Ludwig's American stuff, but Pearl, Tama, fucking all of them.
Yeah.
This was the place that they play because all those drums are just made in the same place and they're all made with the same fucking shells. It's Kenner Shells or whatever that other shell company.
Keller shells.
Keller's, yeah, Keller.
Yeah.
And so
All the custom companies, they're Keller shells.
dude, Wolf drums are Keller shells. You know what I mean?
Don't buy into
I had
it
a
again.
wolf.
Same with Saluda symbol.
I had a wolf for a minute.
Dude, those were great,
Monica
man.
kit. You had the
I did-
Monica kit.
I did have the
forgot
I
about
did
that.
have that Monica kit for a minute.
So what we're talking about is a buddy of ours, Jeremy Wolf, right? Was or is a custom
He dabbles
drum
still,
builder.
I think.
And the problem is, it's not like being a custom guitar maker, because I'm actually in the process of making a Telecaster now, and it's not a lot of, doesn't take a lot of skill because I can do it, and it's not a lot of work, and it's easy. I'll be able to sell that to somebody or give it to somebody. But like to be a private drum maker, it's really hard to find the market for it. But we have a buddy named Jeremy Wolf. We'll give him a little shout out. And man, I played him every time we did this festival that we've all played every year. And man, he makes such good shit.
Me and
Those
Jeffrey played them
drums-
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He
actually,
just-
I think there's a video of Rod playing one of them.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I mean, they always
Cool,
film
man.
that
He had that
festival.
white
y'all
one
do.
that was on the second
Yeah.
HMAF.
Was it the white one that
that's
had like a
That's a
stripe?
gorgeous kit. It's got inlays on it, right?
Yeah, it has like gold inlays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
that's a
beige
gorgeous
to
kit.
green
Yup.
with like gold on the outline
Yeah.
with like black.
But anyway, going back to Mapex, Mapex was the company, and they weren't called Mapex at the time, that made everybody's stuff. So like Pearl would be like, "Here's, make this and give it to us, and we'll put our fucking name on it." And so whoever runs Mapex, Mr. Mapex, was like, "Okay, we're just going to take all of this."
John Mapex.
Yeah, John fucking Jorge Mapex, and they were just like,
Hot dog.
we're going to just take all of this information from all these companies and do the best of. And that's why Mapex is probably the newest drum set that has really hit the market. Mapex makes great shit, and I've just got one. Yeah, I've got one set. The place that I used to be a drum teacher at, we were a Mapex dealer, and everything we had come through there. The Saturn's amazing. The Mars is fucking great, dude. They make really good stuff, and like they're kind of Tave for a little while, and IOT, if you remember IOT, the wood hoop drums, they were also Canadian. But Mapex, that's why Mapex is kind of the newest drum set that's like hit and is like now one of the big 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever you want to call it. And I think it's because they spent years and years learning from all these other companies and like, oh, we'll just do the best of whatever they did. And that's why I think Mapex makes great shit, man.
Yeah.
So my first pro kit was a Premier Vitria. I still have it. It's set up right back behind this camera. I was working at a music store. I was running it and then started my teaching practice there. And I was broke, man. I was poor, like right out of college, just broke ass motherfucker, had nothing. And brother Kirk, as we all have probably done business with, I know Jared has, was like, look, give me $100 down. It was like a $1,200 drum set in 95. No, shit. It was after college. No, 2000. 99, 2000. Because I graduated in
You a
2000.
lawyer back then?
Yeah, no shit. I
Just to get through college.
For a year and a half, I took half my paycheck to pay that off. Like half my pay. I was poor. God damn, I was fucking like, what's that show on Showtime with the poor family? Fuck.
Shameless.
I was shameless poor. That's how poor I was back then. And I spent a year and a half getting half my paycheck to get that drum set. So my Premier Vitria, which became the Premier Artist Maple, which is what they still make now. And that was my first pro drum set.
It's connected to you because of
It
all
is
that.
like, it's one of those things like when I put that in my will, I'm going to make sure it goes to somebody that I know is going to play it. I think
It like immediately sounds better to you already.
it's just,
Like,
it's the best. It's the best drum set I've ever
You
had.
got all that invested into it.
And I've
Not
got
just money, but like your life is invested into
It is like my vibrations have been put in that drum set. I've had it since 2000. It's a 22-year-old drum set, and I have 5. I have too much shit, and that brings me to Jeffrey McClellan. Let's talk about your Gretsch renowned drum set because it's one of the
But
most.
you won't stop bugging me to buy
I
it.
will never. I will never stop. Like Jeffrey will post this on social media, and it's just me trolling, like, sell it to me. I'll give him numbers. I'll put
He'd be like, "Man,
numbers
that
on
thing
there.
sucks. You ought to get rid of it."
It's
Did you
terrible.
not just hear how he was talking about it?
It's so hard to find. It is. They did it really good with that. They made that limited.
They did. I'm pretty sure the numbers are. I was told this, and there's like 500 red, 500 of the blue, and then like 1,000 of the black. But that said, I don't know the exact numbers on that because there's also a different size pack for like the Bop kit.
Mm-hmm.
I've got just like the Fusion Rock. I get 22, 14, 10, 12, 16. I thought about picking up, and what else they got on that? I think there's a 14-inch and maybe I can't remember. There's a 20-inch kick for sure. But I don't know. But the thing is, they're just impossible to find because the people that got them, they're not getting rid of them.
Nope.
And there's not many out there.
Dude, I have an eBay notification. I've got a Reverb notification because even though I have 5 drum sets, and here's why I have such a connection with that. And Hot Rod, this will actually involve you. A guy that I used to play with, we'll call him Voldemort, who's probably one of the more negative assholes that you could play in a band with. I was playing in a band with him at the time, and that drum set came into the music store that I work at. And I told Voldemort, I was like, man, because if you don't know what the Gretsch Renown is, it kind of looks like a 57 Chevy. I think it's dope as shit. And I know they sound great. And I told Voldemort, I was like, I want that drum set. And he's like, that shit's not going on my stage. You buy it. I ain't going to let it on my stage. It's fucking lame. And I was like, at the time, not as secure with myself as a musician. And and that's kind of by design. It's kind of how he works his bands. He don't want you to be secure in yourself. So I was like, okay, I won't buy it. And then like I saw you play with Scrounge Hound with it. And I was like, fuck, like, I was fucking right.
Yeah.
And that is the reason why. And that because at that time I was less poor. I was like not shameless poor. I was like sunny in Philadelphia poor. So I had some, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I had some money.
Yeah. Dude, I've had like 3 or 4 people offer me cash.
I've offered him $1,500 cash for it.
I somehow got it for $9.99, but the day I picked it up off a layaway, I looked online and they were going for over $2,000 already. I've had somebody offer me $3,000 cash.
Fuck.
Their
price is going up.
Now the Renown kits are just like that line of maple kits. This is the 57 Renown. So like if this was just a normal Renown kit, it would be today. Their cost is like 1,600-1,700 for like the kit that I've got. But mine also came with a really nice throne that matches.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so we got that. But then, so around that $1,700 range, you put because it's also the car paint on them instead of wraps, and then the little triangle pieces, and people will pay $3,000 for them.
Shit. Well, I thought 1,500 was a good price. So Hot Rod,
Not good enough for me.
so Hot Rod, you know, we all grow up reading Modern Drummer magazine, reading out of American Musical Supply and Interstate Music, and just you know, daydreaming about just being able to just go into the factory and maybe pick out the drum set. Like we watch, like, you know, you get in Modern Drummer and you see endorsements. Well, you know, Hot Rod, brother, you are the one man here on the Brototoms podcast who has a endorsement with Ludwig. You have a Vic Firth too?
No, just Ludwig and Bosphorus.
Okay, but so when you went to get your Ludwig kit, is it a thing where you were just like, now? And the thing is, like we were talking about, we started out the podcast with endorsements who weren't really endorsements. You know, Hot Rod really does have an endorsement. So when you told your rep, did you just say, hey, I want this, this, and this, and it just showed up? Did you go there and actually go get to play everything? How did that work?
It's pretty much just knew what I want. I mean, I already had this white classic maple already, and I was like, I don't really need anything.
Only Hot Rod would get an endorsement.
And then, like, I got a snare just out of the blue. It was just like
a nice snare too.
Yeah, and then I got the bronze phonic. The only thing that chapped my ass was they only had two tube lugs and not the badass Imperials.
Yeah, but tube lugs are sweet though.
Yeah, they're all right.
Yeah, but
They're not Imperials though.
Those Imperials.
They're sexy. But
so you just told them and it just showed up on tour one day?
Yeah, I got it right before we did the last time we did the Ryman, and I like played it at the Ryman the first time, just like tuned it up, and it came out of the box sounding like perfect.
Right. And
then,
it's the Ludwig American Classics. Is that what it's called?
the whole kit.
Yeah.
It's the classic maple. Yeah.
Classic maple.
And vintage white marine pearl. The only.
Yeah. See, there's a Gretsch Renown that's in that like vintage white pearl, and then they've got like some wood hoops on the kick, and I'm trying to get that because that's a classic look.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, just the clean maple, just the maple, plain maple on the white marine pearl.
I think it's like a deeper stain.
Okay. But just wood, but the wood grain hoop on just the white marine pearl. What is Jared's? What is your favorite? What is your favorite drum finish?
Natural.
Just natural.
Yep.
What about you, Hot Rod?
It's a loaded question. Love vintage white marine pearl, the black onyx Ringo. I have a '68 New Yorker.
Yeah.
Man, I don't hate things that sparkle.
Man, I like them when they look like bass.
And now I can't get over it. I love it,
dude. If it looks like a bass,
had a hard
boat,
time
I'm
with it
all
at
in.
first.
I want my drums to look like a bass boat, like
I wish you could tell that.
So, dude, we could even get into like classic drums, like classic people's drums. Like if you think about, like everybody talks about, like Bonham's Kid is the Vistalite. Well, he never recorded with that. He recorded mostly with a regular, clean white or a maple kit, or the green sparkle.
The green sparkle is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I had that on Kimmel, and I wish it was like a little better of a kit for that wrap. I was like, man, this would be awesome if it's just a little better of a kit.
Yeah.
What was the kit though?
It was a Ludwig downbeat sizes,
Okay.
I
classic.
will say the 26 is a little too big, and it's a loose cannon. I'm not real big on. If it was 24, I would like it a little bit better.
Yeah, I've recorded on a 26 Yamaha like oak or whatever. Is that what Bud has?
He has the oak, yeah.
Yeah.
That giant one. I don't like a bass drum that big.
All right. You gotta have a big old foot, baby.
I can't do it, man. I was playing with
There's no
Sasha,
finesse in
and
it.
there was a band before us. I had the Vista lights on, like the full Bonham Vista light, and they were like, "Hey, man, you want to share?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm about to go play with a fucking female singer songwriter. I can't fucking play your 26-inch bass drum. Get your shit off the stage." You know what I mean? Now, usually I'm okay with using whatever, especially if I'm the opening act. But it's just those 26s. There's a reason where like he's the only one that did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta like fill it with blankets to get it to even feel okay on your foot, because it'll just
He just eats it.
Yeah. And like what Jeffrey said, it just feels like it's just like an earthquake on the fucking on the head. It's impossible to play.
yeah.
And a 20, it's amazing, like just two fewer inches because I use a 24 in the metal band. It's fucking just feels like a
Those are
little softer
comfortable.
22. It feels so good.
Yeah, I love a 24 because like just that it's just a really comfortable version of a 22 basically.
Now, Hot Rod, you use the 20 exclusively these days.
Exclusively. Yeah.
Now,
It's very versatile kick
tell the
drum.
people at home why you like the 20 better than the 22. Because you're a man who has an endorsement. You can have anything showed up to your house that you would like.
Yeah, within reason.
Dude, what you need to
We
do
don't
is
hang
put.
out, you know.
Here's the thing, Hot Rod. You need to push that as far as you can until they're like, quit taking your phone calls.
Till
That's-
they say that's not
It's
within
email.
reason.
You need to
I don't
keep
know, man.
doing it. It's so
really
Appalachian for you to be like, it's so
All my
Appalachian.
snares are at James's.
Yeah, you got hold on, let's
A lot of
backtrack.
space.
You got the deal, but already had your kit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no shit.
I got it after I had the kit, and I was like, sick. I'll be in touch. I've got a few things. They sent me a throne and stuff, and
They put
Yeah.
it on the website. That's cool.
yeah,
Yeah, only an Appalachian would be like, well, I don't want to impose.
yeah.
Like anybody,
I got everything I need.
anybody. No, you never have enough gear. Never
I
have
mean,
enough gear.
There's some things brewing in my head. I'm like, I could get that now.
So tell us why you like the 20 better than the 22, and why it's working for the
it's more
bands you're doing.
versatile. I can make it a little higher. I like the way it feels better. You can go either way with it. You can make it pretty deep. You can make it pretty high. You can make it sing a little easier. You know, I think there's just like a range with it that the 22 it's got a speed, and that's its speed, and it's great. And I think the 20 is like a sports car.
I think too, like there's a certain resonance to that diameter that is like particular to that drum.
It's
Like,
pleasing.
Like I don't
It
know
does
if you guys
sing
noticed,
a little bit
You know,
better.
that's how like when you have like a classic like 5-piece setup, right? And you get your 12, your 13, and your 16. That 13 for me, I don't know if it's the same. And this is a question. That 13 is always the loudest drum on the whole set, and it sounds so wonky.
And it
I think
right.
13. If I were president, the first thing I would do is outlaw 13-inch toms.
And so
Yeah, keep
like
them
the
even
20
numbers.
The 20 is the exact opposite of that.
The 13
Like, it's
inches
just
is
like-
the G string. on the guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why are you different?
Never gonna do what you want.
No, I don't.
I'm not a
It's
guitar player, so when you said G string, I was really wondering where we were going with that.
Well, that's
How much
my
time we
first
got?
thought too. You said it's like a G string. You said on a guitar.
how's she
Either way,
gonna?
They're a little goofy.
How's she gonna put that up there?
Well, it's like a G string. No parent's gonna look and be like, "Oh yeah, my kid."
Do you ever think about a G string on a guitar as underwear?
No,
Yeah.
this is going off the rails.
Think about it like that. Very often. It's not the same G string anymore.
So we can just put to bed what the thing, because I like 24s. Jared likes 24s. Hot Rod likes 20s. Jeffrey likes 22. But
I
we
don't
can all
discriminate.
agree.
Got a 22. I would like. I've been thinking a lot about getting 24 at least for studio
Yeah.
because I love the way they record.
And man, here's the trick on the 24 is I like to not have. Ooh, we could go there. Here we go. Bass drum head front hole, no hole. Jared.
I have a hole with a what's it called?
A G string.
Like that like sub port thing.
Yeah, it's got
Yeah, the
some-
sub port. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have a hole with a sub point.
Hot rod. I think I know.
It used to be no hole, but now I'm whole because you can put a mic in there and easier. And I was tired of Sandman being like, "What? No hole?"
You're fucking
Yeah.
Jeffrey.
And now I like it.
I think I like the tone without one, but now I am miking kick drums myself, and I like kick in, kick out. Get both of them in there.
Right.
So rather than miking the backside of your kick drum, you just put that in there and get some of the tone from the inside. That's the way to do it. Gotta have that.
You can shuffle your pillow easier.
Ugh,
You sure
fucking
can.
pillow out of
You
my
can
face.
adjust.
I don't have anything.
I've got like a
Me neither.
little throw blanket that sits really low. It's not a very big one. So it sits real low. I can push it in.
Use a throw blanket. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So
I was going to ask how many drool stains the pillow has.
Everybody
I've
puts
got a
their
couple.
retired pillows in their
Oh
kick
yeah,
drum.
we're retired. That's like the nursing home for pillows you kind of like. You're like,
When I was
sorry, you have to go.
It's
You're
like
gonna
you
go
get
back
it
to-
out, you have a guest over, you're like, let me get you a pillow. You grab that one, you go, can't do it. And then you put it with your kit.
Like that'll just live in here now.
So I like no hole, and I fixed that hole exactly. Well, I mean, I like holes, but I like no hole in my bass drum. And the way that I fixed all these fucking sound guys bitching at me is I have the internal mounting system, and
There you
I've
go.
got a fucking what is the SM Jeffrey fit? What is it? The fucking
Which one?
112?
Like
91 that goes inside.
Is it the
you have
112? I have the 112. That's not sure, is it?
There's a Beta
like a
50,
suspension
sure, Beta 52.
system?
There's an Audix. Audix is not. Are you talking?
Get the
what's
AKG
the 112?
G112?
The AKG. It's the AKG 112.
That's it. I've got the 112 in there. And so when a guy will come up and be like, or sound girl, 2022, they'll come up and start bitching. I just pull out my fucking cord that's hanging out, that's coming out the fucking hole on the top. I'm like, here you go, guy. Shut the fuck up. Go away from me. Because I don't
Did you
like
have
having a
to
hole in
drill?
there. No, I've got them. It's got all these rubber bands system,
okay.
and they attach onto the lugs. And it's kind of a
okay.
bitch to start once you get it the first time. It's a maddening thing because like this side's too long and this side's too short. They got to get it where you want it inside. But once
Right.
it's there, it's the best. I'm gonna have that in every bass drum that not every because I have too many drum sets. But my two main drum sets, I'm gonna have them in there because I don't like it. I do like a bass drum head or a hole in my bass drum head. But I think the one thing that we all agree on is like do they need to make another bass drum head besides the Aquarian Super Kick 1 and or Super Kick 2?
Yes.
No.
No. Jeffrey?
I don't have. I've never purchased an Aquarian Super Kick. Whenever I play them, they're fine, and I get why people really like them, but I don't think it's necessarily my flavor.
I don't know that Aquarian makes anything else.
I
I know
used
they make
to,
those little rings. They make the tone control rings. I know that.
They have a lot of gimmicky shit. They do have a lot of gimmicky stuff. I don't want to say shit, but they have some gimmicky stuff. But that bass drum head is goddamn near perfect. I've owned
I love it.
on my Premier kit. I've owned two in the last like 15 years, and that one over there is only like 2 years old.
Well, so I busted one because I'm a psychopath. Yeah.
What did you bust a two?
Yeah.
A two ply? God damn, Jared. See, that's why you're the best rock and roll drummer in the fucking Appalachian area.
I'm taking
I
it you
busted
bury
it
the
too.
beater.
Yeah, I do bury my beater, and I was also playing with a wood beater from Outlaw.
Oh yeah, those
That'll
are
get you.
heavy.
Yeah, because I wanted like to kick people's faces off,
Right.
and
You accomplished that.
yeah, I did. So I broke it too. I bought an EMAD because it was just like, oh god, I need a kick, I need a kick drum, and so I bought an EMAD, put that on it, broke it, and then not the same night, but so then I was just like, yeah, I'm going back to the Super Kick because the Super Kick
Now,
lasted
do you put
forever
those,
until I broke it.
Do you put the pads on there for where your pedal goes?
Yeah, like the kick patch.
Yeah.
Yeah, EMAD has one. Like a lot of them, they'll have like basically the same material as a head. But I like the one that Evans makes. That's like a woven nylon kind of.
Yeah, it's almost like Kevlar.
That's
almost
yeah,
like
it's almost a
Kevlar.
Kevlar
that
thing.
Kevlar-y patch.
I
on
really like that. It softens the beat a little bit, but it also absorbs the impact a little bit better.
Yeah.
It does last. So, Hot Rod, you said no on the Super Kick. What is yours?
The Remo P3.
P3. See, I don't
Power
know that much
Stroke
about
3?
Remo
It's
bass
a,
drum
uh,
heads.
Power Stroke 3.
Oh, okay.
Coated pinstripe.
Mm.
Just
I
beefy enough, but just enough.
Do
that
like
I
a
can play
coated
with it.
kick drum head, but I never put one on, but because I always have some rock and roll sitting waiting, but now my rock and roll is getting a little bit more classic, and it's about time I put something coated on my
Feels
kick drums.
good, baby.
Yeah.
Feels
Does the
good.
Power Stroke, is the Power Stroke 3, does it have pre-muffles in it?
I haven't changed it in a while. I have no clue.
You don't know if that's
Couldn't tell you.
on it.
There's a pillow up against it. I don't think it does. I think it's just a traditional head.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Does anyone else put the felt strip on the front head?
Uh-uh.
See, I do because I play without a hole in the head.
Right. Yeah. You probably need
That makes sense.
Yeah, I've got a few in my. How extensive is everyone's first aid kit? Drum first aid kit. Hot Rod, do you have
Not
a drum first
crazy,
aid?
man. I don't. My aim's pretty good these days.
Well, no, I'm
only
I'm not talking about heads. I'm talking about felts.
Oh,
like
that first
all
aid
the-
kit. Sorry,
yeah,
I was
that
like,
first
I
aid
haven't
kit.
bled in a minute.
No, the first aid kit that everybody
No,
fucking
it's-
has.
It's fine. I don't.
Dude, I've got
I
a.
replace it if I see it even starting to fray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't need it one on the spot. If I don't
I have
have
a
it,
ta- I have a
it,
tackle
just throw it
box.
off.
I have a tackle box of shit because I used to play in Nashville all the time, and if you go and play in Nashville all the fucking time, all those house kits don't have top felts and top screws. And it runs me fucking nuts.
I do keep some cymbal sleeves.
Yeah.
Especially, I got to keep those sleeves because I'll go anytime I'm using a house kit. It's like every time there's no sleeves on there, and I'm not trying to get keyholes in my,
Yeah.
$450.
Do you ever get the house kit that just doesn't have anything on it?
What, like
it's
no
just
felts, nothing?
straight,
Absolutely
no felt,
nothing. There's no
nothing.
washer. There's
And it's
no
just
felt.
like
There's no sleeve.
sick. Like that's gonna go halfway down this stand.
And that's why young drummers out there, when you start touring and you start playing around, you gotta have a drum first aid kit because you will run it. Because man, let's talk about that. Oh my god. Okay, Jared, give me the worst drum set you ever had to deal with at a gig, like say opening up or a house gig.
Dude, I mean, there was one, and the guy was like, well, funny. I'll tell this story first. One night we walk in, and I mean, people who watching this may have not seen our band, but we're very loud and Southern rock type of band. And I walk in like carrying all this, gear and stuff, and this dude stops me. We're playing with him, and he has a cajon, and he goes, man, if you don't want to worry about setting all that up, you can play my stomp box if you want to. And I was like,
really polishing a turd.
yeah. It's like, I probably ought to use ours. Like, I don't know if a cajon's gonna handle like what we need.
I wish you would have broke his cajon.
No, there was one.
Yeah, man, I'll use it.
There was one dude who we were opening, they were closing, and he wanted me to play his kit because he didn't want to, tear down or whatever. And man, it was running away from me all night. Like there was no legs. There was like the toms would move. So after every song, I'm just like jerking stuff back into frame. Like, oh my God. And then I think it ended up his hi-hat pedal came unthreaded during the song.
That's happened to me too.
Yeah. And dude, I mean, it's just, that in that situation has happened multiple times. Just, just going around and playing other people's kits. It's what you get.
Yeah.
Hot Rod, what is the worst drum kit you had to play on? And usually you run into this when you are playing in like a town that's very music centered, where everybody has house kits, where all the bars have house kits, and no one keeps them. So where have you seen or had to play just the worst drum set?
I've been pretty fortunate that I haven't ran across too many things, but this is also twofold answer for me. One, and I remember just this festival in Mississippi where it had to move fast. So they were like, this is the house kit. Everyone used the same kit except for the headliner. And I was like, all right, cool. If drums are only made to rock, I have a hard time. Because it's like, Pappy needs some finesse. Work with me here. As if it only has like one speed, it's like, this is I think it was a PDP kit. Like it was purple. And I was like,
So for people at the home that doesn't know what he's talking about like if he sits down behind a drum set that is tuned specifically for big rock sounds, and usually when that is tuned like that, they kind of only sound good at a certain level of volume that you hit on them, and it takes away a lot of your low end dynamics, and that's what Hot Rod is talking about right there. Happy 420, everybody.
If the kick is almost as long as its diameter,
square bass drum,
and two, one was a pearl, and the guy was extremely short, and everything was memory locked.
I hate that,
and I was just like,
I hate
with like
that,
these
dude.
double pearl eliminator pedals. And I was like just hitting everything because it was right here and it was down here. And I was like, God, I hate this.
So that's a problem for me a lot of times too when I go places and play. Rodney gave me hell for years about setting solo. And so finally I was like, I just inched my way up. And now I set higher than literally everyone else that I play with. And like he sat behind my kit. He was like, Jesus Christ, man. And so now like when we go and everybody's stuff, like I put my throne down and I'm just like the drums are just down here. And
How
I'm
does
like,
this feel?
Because everything's memory locked together and you don't have time.
These are both my heights. These are the two I use.
Oh,
How does this feel?
Just a little too low.
Just a little?
I feel uncomfortable here. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Has it like Chester Thompson, who is famous for being Frank Zappa's drummer and also the Genesis drummer? Dude, that guy's standing like that. His stool's basically something to lean against. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
I've had.
So Jeffrey, I know that you're going to have the best one here because I know you were touring around in like kind of I know your band wasn't
In the
hardcore,
DIY
but in the DIY scene, house shows, that kind of
The
shit.
good news with the DIY scene is everybody undeservedly has an ego. So they won't share kits.
So you never had to worry about
everybody's
playing
like,
someone
I
else.
gotta use mine, and it's like, bro, we got 10 bands, and the show starts at 7 and ends at 10. Let's share a kit, please, for the love of God. And you're like, nah, this one's for me. I've had like, but I mean, I've run into like a couple situations where it's like, the stuff's just like leaning way back and super low or whatever. I've had like in a couple, like for the most part, everything's usually okay somewhere. But I've had like where the hi-hat stand, like you're talking unthread. I had one time somebody had brought it was a Shine custom kit. It was a pretty good kit, but the hardware was skimped out on. And when I was playing, the hi-hat stand, the pedal bent in. It was like that cheap. It was bending when I would put my foot on it, so I couldn't get a good closed hi-hat sound. And then I've had like
you already did.
The tuning is a big thing. I played just like last year. I played a set where all the toms were tuned as tight as they could go, and I'm trying to do like I like my drums to sing. I couldn't ever like the floor tom was like, doo. It's like, bro, come on.
You're just playing tenors at that point. Like,
that's tenors.
Exactly. Exactly. But I would say the worst, and I'm going to be careful how descriptive I get here because it wasn't an out-of-town gig, but I was supposed to be sharing a kit, and
was it my
kit?
I
wasn't. It was not. The idea was not to share a kit. So I show up, I unload all my gear. Drummer says, "Hey, we're going to use my kit." I said, "Really? Since when?" He said, "Yeah, I'll just unload mine." I said, "I already unloaded mine. It's cool." And
Was it me?
No.
I keep thinking it's me at this point.
I was thinking, was it me?
Nobody here.
Okay.
We've all done shit together.
Yeah, I know.
We're like We're the only
It was
four
nobody
drummers in
here.
It's like
town.
I'm pretty nice about my kit. I don't think I've forced mine on anyone.
No, it was nobody here. No, your kid's nice.
Because it definitely wasn't me.
I've
Because
used
I'd have been like, I'm
everybody.
playing
I've
that
looked at
Gretsch
kits
kit
before
tonight.
and been like, brother, I'm gonna
Yeah.
throw mine up. What do you think? Like,
So I
nice.
yeah, I'll ask if they ask, hey, do you want to share a kit? I say, sure, what you got? And then they tell me, and I'll be like, we can just use mine, whatever, or I'll be cool with using theirs. This one, I had already unloaded my gear. They said, we'll just use mine. I'll unload it real quick. I said, mine's already unloaded. They said, we're just going to use mine. Save time. I'm like, it's here. They're like, load it back up. I get told by a manager, load your kit back up. We're just going to use this one. He's the headlining. Like, okay, whatever. Then the kit comes out, and I look at it, and my jaw dropped.
Yeah.
He's like, my kid's it's going to be great for you. You're going to love the sound. I was playing with Dell. You're going to love the sound. It's real dead. It's like 70s sound. It's the original heads from the 70s. I was like,
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
everything, paper towels and lots of duct tape on the heads that were like all dented in. I get up there and we're playing Tommy by The Who in full. I have a 50-minute set nonstop.
Yeah.
About song 3, the rack tom fell over and pushed the crash cymbal away from me. I was like, I have to play Keith Moon without a rack tom? Like, everything was just so bad. The kick drum, there were no feet on the things, so it was just spikes. It's running away. There was some like duct tape at the bottom of one of them. It was to try to pretend it was a foot. It was just bad. I couldn't.
wonder if we're not talking about the same drum set.
What color was it?
Was it black?
Yeah, we're talking about the same drum. There's never anything on the stands that's decent.
So that means I know them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're
You
going to definitely
do.
tell me that. You're going to tell me that
Now-
offline.
We'll tell you
Oh.
after.
I think I'm with you.
He got a new kit.
I've seen that. I've seen
He
it.
got a new kit.
Okay,
and it rules. But I also, you're talking about throne height. So there's another drummer that's local. It's funny. He got a new throne because he had one that was broken, and it was I had to use it on multiple occasions. He's like, okay, I'm sorry, it sucks, but it was one of those hydraulic rocking.
I hate them. I hate them.
And it was broken. So he said, sometimes if you move, it'll fall out, and then it'll just like
Took yours and then it fixed it.
it'll just like pull the
It's
lever.
into one spot.
So if I'm like bouncing, say like I lean over to get a beer or I reach for a cymbal, the throne went all the way up. I was like, "Ah." So now I'm standing trying to play. Dude,
Put your little ass through the roof.
yeah. And I couldn't get the thing back in to get it to go back down.
Dude, I've had to use hot rods hydraulic, and I fucking hate it because
It's Jared's.
That was
oh, is it yours? You're just this the whole fucking
I
time.
used it for a
Like,
long time.
That's what I use. I still use it. I bought
Oh, I
another
can't stand it.
one.
Oh, I gotta
finally
be.
broke mine.
I gotta be
fixed it.
secure.
It only goes one way now.
Yeah.
So
That was-
mine was we were playing like a festival that was kind of like a big festival, and they said it's going to be backline. Like, oh, sweet man, backline, probably nicer shit than me. Or it's a big festival. Like to give you an idea, Lettuce was playing right after us. Now, of course, Brad Dietz was going to use his drum set. It was a fucking Max, an MAXX. Max, which is like a CB percussion. The bass drum spurs were just those ones that just like come out. It's just like
Yeah.
one like this, right?
Like the 1960s.
Dude, it
The
was
ones that go into the kick.
yeah, like they grow in the kit and they come out. And it's just got like some little rubber thing. There's no spurs, nothing.
Right.
And then to beat, and it was garbage. And like some drum, like Jared's right earlier on. If you put good heads and you can tune well, and I know Jared was talking about this too. And if you have a good touch, you can kind of make anything sound good. That's
Right.
just the facts. But
Touch is huge.
Touch is a big thing, but some drum sets are just so garbage. There's nothing you can do about it. So the drum set sounded awful. All the cymbal or all the hardware was just the lowest shit you could possibly have. But then, and it sounded terrible. I felt like I was playing terrible. And Brad Dietz was playing right after me. So it was even fucking worse. It was like in my head.
They're like, this drum.
Right.
Not Brad Deitch, Adam Deitch, the guy who used to play with John Schofield, was the drummer after me. And so like I'm in my head, it's like, oh, fucking, cover of Modern Drummers playing right after me. I'm playing this garbage. Then going back to what Jeffrey was talking about, putting the little, your Kevlar like head on the bass drum head, it fucking fell off. And then there was all that goo. So every other note, my bass drum was sticking to the fucking head. It was awful. We're on this big ass fucking stage in a big, significant crowd. And like, I had to be like, look, I need duct tape because I can't play because every other bass drum note was sticking to the fucking head.
I got a question. You ever break someone's shit?
Oh yeah.
I have never broke anybody's stuff. I have not broke anybody's shit.
One kickhead in my life in Rhode Island, and that guy was a peckerhead about it.
Now, did you have heads with you that you could give him?
The band was called the Silks. Guy looked like Lemmy, and he was like, "We're using my kit." And I was like, "All right, whatever." And that head was older and shit, playing with William Athene. Kicked through it on the last song, and it just tore.
Were you opening?
Yeah. We were playing before him. So he was just like, "What the fuck, man?" And I was like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry about that." I gave him $50, and I was like, "I got my kick out in the van. I'll go get it. You can use it for yours. And here's a beer. I'm sorry." He was like, "It ain't about that, dude. It's the principle of the thing."
What,
And I was like, "Get a fucking burger with the change and have lunch from the 50 and fuck off."
You can tell this was pre-inflation because $50 probably won't get you a bass drum head these days.
I was like, "That'll get you through, man."
Dude, what did you Jeffrey, what did you just ask him?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I was heated. I was ready to tomato.
I've never broke anything. Have you broke shit, Jeffrey?
Okay, so it's funny because I had kind of a similar situation that happened, but I was doing a tour. Okay, I said that everybody has like this ego where they don't in the DIY scene. I did a tour one time where after the first date, I was going up to New Jersey to start a tour with a band up there. And I was supposed to be using that drummer's kit throughout the tour. After day one, like during our show, his grandma died that was like really, really close to him, and they had to drop the tour. I didn't bring a kit.
Ooh.
So now every night I have to go to the show and be like, "Hey man, nice set."
And go beg.
Can I use your kit?
You're just begging on tour.
I played.
Can borrow everything, man?
Yeah, dude. I had nothing. We were supposed to play together. The only thing I brought was cymbals and sticks, right? And so I get because he and we had the same like throne, we had the same pedals, so it was like all I had to do was bring cymbals and sticks. On here, he also had a Gretsch kit. He was like, "Just use my snare, dude. Literally bring nothing." I'm like, perfect. It was opposite of perfect. Everybody was pretty cool throughout the tour, but I played the show in Pittsburgh, and there was like this technical metal band playing. Those guys are particular about their gear, right? Yeah. This dude, I go up to him. He's like the long hair, like the shoulders back, kind of. You know what I'm talking about? I go up, I'm like, "Hey man, here's the situation. Is it cool?" And he's like, because like I'm headlining the show. He just finished his set. Like he's gonna be finishing his set, and then like have to sit and watch me put like you can't go easy when you headline. But luckily, if anything happens, he's already played. Whatever. I'm like, he's like, "Yeah, that's cool. I guess you can use it." And then I start to set up my cymbals, and I get in my stick bag. Everything was broken.
No!
I'm like, I have to ask this guy for sticks. And so I'm like, "Hey man, do you have?"
Can I borrow everything?
I had one stick that was almost broke. Like you can tell when it's gonna break.
Right.
And I was like, "I'm gonna make this last the whole time, but I need something for backup just in case." So I asked him, like, "Hey man, I might need to borrow a stick." He's like, this dude uses triggers. He doesn't hit hard. So he's like, I guess just don't break it." I'm like, All right.
Off.
It's like
Fuck
I'm
off.
like a 1-2.
So
Did you catch it at a concert from your dream drummer or something?
Good
right,
Lord.
like so
Chill
I
out.
get there and literally like about 2 songs in, I break my stick. So it's time to start using his. They're lopsided. I have to use both of his. So now I'm playing my whole set. I'm going through, and in the very last song, split right in half. And I was like, whatever. It's a drumstick. It's not going to be a big deal. So I went up to him. I was like, hey, man. But I remember he was like, just please don't break. I went up to him, was like, hey, man, I'm sorry. It broke. Here's $20. That'll get you 2 new pairs. And he was like, oh. It was like on Step Brothers when he sees the little tip out
You've
of
been
the
touching my
drumstick.
drumsticks. You got my
Did you
someone
touch my
dented my
drumstick?
left drumstick.
Like he had like no words. I was like he didn't say anything. I just handed him the $20. I was like, hey man, I'm sorry, it broke. But you can get 2 new pairs. And he's just looking at it and didn't say anything. I was like, thanks for letting me use your kit. And I just walked away. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder what the deal was.
Man,
I don't
have
know.
you
I think
ever
he
hung
just-
out
He
with
doesn't
tech?
break sticks. He has his drums tilted in where he doesn't hit any rims, and he doesn't have to hit hard because he's like, just with triggers. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
man, like those extreme dudes, like, and I'm not saying Derek Roddy, but the Derek Roddy types, those guys are all like Aaron Kuchar, Kitchener, is that his name from fucking Cunt Crusher or whatever that band is? All those like that's the name of the band.
Imagine naming your band.
That's the name of the band, dude. It's the name of the band. Or maybe it's the name of the song. Maybe it's the name of the song.
Sounds
think
like
it
a
is.
Cannibal Corpse band. That's his own name.
But it's a blast beat band. Those guys all just trigger and just touch
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like play like this. But then out front you're hearing "Bah!" and it just sounds super fucking loud. It's cheesy.
Yeah.
I don't care.
The kick drum is all high end
Yeah. Tick tick tick
on the
tick.
trigger.
So I thought we were going to get into cymbals, but that looks like that's going to be the next episode of the Brototoms podcast.
Yeah.
We've been nerding out, and I want to end it with this. I want everybody to tell me what is their most coveted piece of gear, and or what is the one thing that you wish you had and that you don't have. And I'm going to start with Hot Rod. Your most
Right
coveted,
now.
or the thing that you would want the most.
Right now, it's probably the Black Beauty I just got. And then
Oh, I was
it's
going
a
to bring one of
B-
those up early.
It's a B stock, but it is perfect. It's
What do you
great.
mean B stock? What's that? What do they mean by that?
They're just like a little cheaper. They got like a little imperfection, and it's like on the inside.
Because this guy,
Oh, dude,
he didn't
yeah.
want to wait on his rep to send him like a perfect one, so he just bought it himself.
They're backed up, dude. He
You're
was like,
buying
"This is like
shit for a
6 months."
company you're endorsed by?
This is
Yeah,
this
sure.
is
Keeps
an
them in
Appalachian
business.
sitting at a stop sign, everybody waving at each
Yep.
other. Yeah, that's what that is.
They help me. I help them. boy.
That's true.
I treat my friends right. Okay, I'll pay for the, I'll
They're
pay
trying to
for the
treat
meal
you
every
right,
now and
but you don't
again.
So, is there anything that you covet?
I'm well, that right now, nothing crazy. I'm on the hunt for a jazz festival eventually.
Like a 60s?
There, yeah, like an early 63,
Ah,
anywhere in 60, 63. I'd love to. I don't have many wood snares anymore.
that's all I've got. I've got all wood except I have a Mapex Black Panther, which is their version of the Black Beauty. It's brass, chrome over brass. Okay, Jared, what is your most coveted and what is your most valued piece of gear that you have now?
My most valued piece of gear that I have now is probably my snare drum. It's a DW black tie. It's that dark titanium with it's all titanium and it cracks, man. It's I'll always say that it's like the perfect combination of like the sound of wood because it's so dense of a metal that it's almost like a woody sound, but you can get it to ring as well. But yeah, but my most like I don't know, probably my ride cymbal would be the other one. Rodney actually gave me that a long time ago, and I broke it. I broke my ride cymbal because
That's right. You had to find
like,
another one.
this is just a story of me telling you everything I've ever fucking broke.
So what was it or what is it?
It's one of those Armands.
Yeah, it's a 21-inch Armand ride. It's it's beautiful. Like I have walked through every drum store I've ever been in and played on a ride cymbal because I'm always like, oh, maybe I need to try something else. And nothing, not a single thing have I ever hit that I liked more than the sound of that ride. And so I broke it. And so I go on Reverb and I buy there's one, just like one of them. So I was like, well, whatever the fuck it costs is what it costs. So I'm just gonna pay it.
Yep.
And so I buy it, get it sent to the house, and it's just a smidge different than the one that he gave me, but it's almost perfect. But yeah, so that 21-inch Armand is
cool, man.
Dude, I can't play without it. I have to have it.
Dang.
So Jeffrey, I know you're going to taunt me with your answer. What is your most, what is the thing that you have that you love the most, and then something that you want, that you covet to get?
Yeah. Right now is my, my 57 Renown, because that's something that's what I wanted, and I ended up with it. It kind of fell in my lap. I'm very lucky, but, I got, two, like one thing that I'm like within reason searching for, something that I really want to complete my kit really is, that Meinl 21-inch transition ride.
I don't know what that is. Is that one of the sand things?
Mike Johnston signature. It's like raw but lathed also. Like it's like raw but it's still shiny on the top, lathed on the bottom. It's like perfect. It washes great, but it has great stick definition. The bell's perfect. Like everything about it is what I wanted in a ride, and then it came out. Everything he does is like what I want. There's like that dude. That's like the perfect ride. And I remember I was like shopping for cowbells because I was feeling like throwing that in some stuff. So I was like, man, I want to get kind of flashy. I wish there was a like a gold or brass kind of, or a bronze sort of cowbell that I liked, like something like brushed and like goldish. I bought one that wasn't that, and then like a week later, he came out with a signature one that was exactly what I had in my head. I was like, damn, this guy's got it. But I think the end all be all that I ultimately want is, like an early 60s Gretsch Broadcaster kit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. They make them now to spec of what they had back then. But, if you can get all those years and all that smoke in there.
Mm-hmm. And if you're going to spend that money on the new one, you have the money to wait around until one of the real ones shows back up.
Exactly.
Jared, you were agreeing with him. Who is this Mike Johnston character?
He's I've only ever really seen him on YouTube and stuff. I don't know who he plays.
Yeah, with. He does like a lot of Mike's lessons.
Yeah, really, really good. You should check him out.
So he's a YouTuber that has his own fucking line now.
He does like drum camps and stuff.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's done like
he's like a major teacher.
Yeah, he's done like PASIC and NAM and all that stuff. And he endorses Meinl.
Is he a DCI guy too?
He's very positive.
I think so. He's like a jazz drummer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, he's amazing. When we close this off, don't go watch the Batman. Go watch Mike Johnston.
Fair enough. So since Jeffrey talked about cymbals, I thought we were going to get to cymbals today, but of course we nerded out on drums. Brototoms podcast number 2, we're going to do some cymbals, and what you're going to find out on theirs, kiddies, that like and again going back to what Jared Sickles, it's so right. It's such a universal truth. Cheap drum set, good heads, tuned well, nice touch. You can get a good sound. What you're going to find out on the next episode is if you want good cymbals, you got to spend a lot of money. You're going to find that about. There is no like touch that makes a B8 Pro sound good, but
it's got Pro in the name.
It does.
I have a counterpoint, but we'll save it till next time. Yes,
sir. So my most beloved piece of gear is I have a 64 round badge Gretsch snare drum.
Yes, sir.
I ruined.
Mike Johnson plays a round badge kit.
Oh, dude, the 64, like the real deal.
Yeah.
Oh, it's magical. I ruined the the value of it because I drilled holes and put a trick throw off on it, but I don't really care about museum pieces.
It's yours.
I mean, if it's
Yeah.
yours and that's what you want, then
You know what I
do it.
mean? And the thing is,
Make it
even-
useful.
and that's the problem with those old snare drums like that is those throw offs are just garbage compared to what we have now. And dude, I love Ludwig. I don't own a Ludwig. I've played them for years and years. Man, that P88 throw off is garbage. They got to fix that. It's bad.
The 88 does suck.
You know what I
got-
mean?
It's got too many like pins in it. Or
It's
something.
too much shit to go wrong.
lose
It's just,
I've got that magnetic throw off on that black tie from DW.
right.
Everyone should check that out. It's like you're putting butter on toast when you flip it up and down, dude.
Dude, that's how that trick is. That
You like
fucking
that.
when I bought that trick
tricks
however
have-
many years ago.
Different levels to them too.
Yeah, you have it has clicks in it. So you can I want to down tune the snares 3.
Sugar
and then
percussion uses the best throw offs.
Sugar?
go
Who?
on
Sugar percussion.
Okay.
and explain it.
It's just this like weighted like rod that like spins like this and it like stops in different positions. It's like
Oh.
and it's so satisfying, and man, you can just and it's
Yeah,
all
it
the way
sounds
around, or you can
similar
just
to
barely
the-
touch it.
Trick.
That sounds very similar to the trick for
Mhm.
sure.
Well, that,
And then-
that
and-
DW that I have has a 3-position butt plate on it, so you can change, but it's on the other side.
The 3-position butt plug.
Yeah, the butt plate.
We are still drummers. And then to end this up with the most coveted thing that I would want, and it's the next thing that I'm going to spend some serious money on, is I want to take my main number 1 kit, which is my Premier Vitria, and I want to put wood hoops on them motherfuckers. It's the thing that I want the most, but it is very pricey, especially in today's dollars. I wish I'd have done it before now because it'd be a lot cheaper. But like IOT was a drum set that had wood hoops, of course. If you can see right here, we got Lee Von Helm back there sticking his tongue out. The reason that you love those drum sounds on all those band records, and I know Hot Rod knows this, is those drums were like almost Civil War era toms, and they all had wood hoops. So his top tom and his floor tom had wood hoops, and it's just Brother James, guitar player for Hot Rod's band, had what was that brand of wood hoop drum set that he sold? I don't remember. It was that blue sparkle, right? And
Yeah,
man,
it was kind of more like pearl.
okay.
But god dang, I never had a stock head on it. I can't even remember what they were.
But man,
But it
wood
had one of those
hoops.
cannon kick drums that I was like, I don't know.
So man, wood hoops on the toms is where it's at. So guys, thank you all
It
for
sounded
coming
good.
on. So thank you all for coming on the episode 1 of the Brototoms podcast. We will be doing this semi-regularly every week, every 2 weeks or so when we get something to talk about. The next episode is going to be, we're going to talk cymbals. And then the one after that, we're probably going to talk about our favorite and least favorite drummer thoughts on social media, on Instagram and TikTok. Of course, we'll have Jeffrey to tell us about the TikTok side, and the rest of us will tell you about the Instagram and YouTube side. And are they valuable? Should they be doing what they're doing? Are they doing a disservice or are they not? Are they inspiring or are they inspiring the wrong thoughts? And with that, I leave you. I thank you, Hot Rod and Jeffrey and Jared. And we will see you all next time here on Junk Drummer TV on the Brototoms podcast.